Greetings from LA, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I very much hope that this video finds you well and in very good spirits wherever you are in the world. And today, if you don't mind, I would very much like to continue on with our journey, our discussions, our discoveries, and our explorations with respect to the recent releases made by the Criterion Collection during this year of 2023. And specifically, I'd like to begin another series of discussions with regards to yet another great physical media box set or collector's set release from, again, none other than the Criterion Collection. And this is a very special set. What I have here is a 4K UHD plus Blu-ray combo set of a gathering of films which are described as being from 1957 to 1960. And this is a really great one. This set overall comprehensively has been designated by Criterion at SPY number 1186. And the name of the director is Bud Boetticher. And the name of this set is The RANOWN Westerns, 5 films directed by Bud Boetticher, starring Randolph Scott. The RANOWN Westerns, 5 films directed by Bud Boetticher, starring Randolph Scott. And the 5 films here in question are The Tall Tea, and Decision at Sundown, and Buchanan Rides Alone, and Ride Lonesome, and Comanche Station. So, wow, these are fantastic films, each in their own way, truly splendid, thrilling. The plots are really quite unexpected, especially if you're watching these films for the first time. Oh my goodness, you're in for a real treat. They're thrilling, they're bold, they're funny, and they're shocking and surprising in a lot of ways, and they're really hooked into this sense of the grandeur of the landscape and the beauty and enthralling nature of the environments that are very much part of the Western genre on the one hand. The rugged outdoors, and also the beauty and the mystique, which is also very much linked to a sense of myth and Americana. Also, there is very strong links to the psychological and the turmoil and the unease and the self-doubt and the idea of revenge and the darkness, as well as the ways in which there might be a sense of optimism amongst or despite all the chaos that ensues. So there's a lot at play here. These are grand, sweeping gestures that also have a lot of heart and soul, and sometimes the hearts and souls that we come across in these films, the Bud Boetticher films, the RANOWN Westerns. Sometimes those hearts and souls might be broken, they might be scarred, they might be maybe beyond repair, or there might be some hope for salvation or some kind of retribution, whatever the case may be, whatever the plots bring towards us or present to us as the viewers. And believe me, these are so much fun, and they are thrilling. They are prime examples of the Western genres, and also they are each excellent examples of these artistic collaborations. Now, the RANOWN Westerns have with them a lot of backdrop and background and a lot of key players. The Criterion Collection box set here does an excellent job in presenting a number of supplements and a number of other, say, explanatory materials and other documentaries and commentaries for some of the films as well. That really provide the excellent backdrop, especially for those who are encountering these films for the first time. So if you are, you're going to encounter a lot of the key players along the way, such as producer Harry Joe Brown, director Bud Boetticher, the star, and also very active in front of and behind the camera, that's Randolph Scott, and then Burt Kennedy, Charles Lang, Charles Laughton Jr., etc. So all these players in some form or another are kind of combining or pooling their resources essentially and contributing in such a grand way to each of these films. And believe me, each of these films in their own ways specifically, they're filled with so much epic scope and heart and a lot of surprises. So for those who are going to be watching the RANOWN Westerns for the first time, my goodness, you are in for a treat. These are brilliant films. They're fun, they're exciting, they're shocking, they're utterly, utterly brilliant. And I am so thrilled that the Criterion Collection has released this set of these 5 films, plus the background materials, the supplements, and the like. So this is really going to be a fun time. Now, just point out a few things. If it's okay with you, my dear friends, I would very much like to speak about each of these films in their own separate video, and then maybe some extra videos talking about the supplements and other aspects of this, because there's a lot packed in this release. There are the 5 films, and each has its own set of supplements, some of which also have an accompanying commentary track. Not all of the films, but some of the films do. So that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. So, and then we have supplements linked to each of them. And then we have another accompanying disc in this set, which has its own set of supplements as well. So we've got a lot here. And it's also utilizing the 4K UHD format plus the Blu-ray format. So that's something we can also talk about along the way in terms of the presentation values and qualities that are part of this new release by Criterion. Should also point out that these films have been made, of course, available in other past non-Criterion releases, and they've been really great. But I must say that having experienced, say, some of those previous releases, which I say are really great, and I have some of them, this Criterion release, I'm so thrilled with this. I'm really, really happy with this, and I'll try to explain in the context of each of the films over the course of these next several videos. I'll try to explain why it is I feel that way, but I really, really want to say just up front that this is a great release. It's going to be up there in terms of among my favorite releases of the year from Criterion. And that's due to a lot of factors, and I think primarily it's due, again, as a type of beautiful, healthy, and robust reminder of how great these films are. I just want to say and emphasize again, these are a lot of fun. These are a lot of fun. They are a blast. Each of them has its own set of, say, comedic values, and also really interesting core relationships and how they develop. And I just want to emphasize this idea of surprises that are oftentimes linked to a sense of the psychological. There's a way in which the epic operatic sweep and the grand gestures of the Western aesthetic and the outdoors and the rugged nature of the mountain, the horizons and the townships, etc., how all these are also always very buoyed and very linked to a core and key set of psychological trajectories, oftentimes, or perhaps each in its own way, portrayed by the Randolph Scott character in each of these films, that really gives these films, respectively, their own sets of drives and ambitions and a type of inexorable sense of fate. That's also so much fun along the way, and a lot of food for thought, because there are oftentimes a lot of images that are very haunting, and that are very epic, and that are sweeping, and are also very intimate and feeling very authentic and genuine. So that's all due to, again, the partnership and collaborations of all these great artists, again, under the direction of Bud Boetticher and then starring Randolph Scott. And Randolph Scott, my goodness, the performances of Randolph Scott and others in these films, of course, but Randolph Scott is just the rugged nature of his face and how much it registers a type of a sense of maybe, for lack of a better phrase, a type of attractive wholesomeness that is always put under the test, that has a sense of maybe unease and a sense of maybe a hidden agenda, which is slowly unearthed oftentimes as the film progresses. And we begin to get to know his characters, or the characters that he portrays, respectively, in a way that's very awesome, that's also very surprising, that's also has a lot of room for twists and turns. There are a lot of twists and turns in many of these films as well, so and just so much fun and enthralling along the way. And that's also my way to say that if you have not seen the RANOWN Westerns, you are in for a real treat, really. I wish I could take back the first time I saw these films, because I remember watching these films for the first time, respectively, and every single time I was just blown away. Every single time I was blown. I have maybe there might be some in particular that I thought, oh, these are. If I had to come up with a ranking list of the films, there might be a way in which I would rank them in terms of my favorites, but that's not to take anything away from any one of them. They are all in their own way utterly brilliant. And when I remember when I saw each of them for the first time, just every single time in their own way, just blew the lid off of, or just knocked my socks off, whatever other cliche I could come up with. I would use those cliches, but really use them with a sense of authenticity from my heart, because I really believe that. Just knocked my socks off every single time. So, and so I wish I could have that experience of watching these films for the first time over again. And that's why I'm so jealous of anyone who might be watching these films for the first time, approaching these. But if you are really in for a treat. But I also should say, too, in terms of my own subjective experience, that's not to say that whenever I watch these films again, I don't enjoy them. On the contrary, they are so rewatchable. They're so fun. They're so accessible. They have a type of, and I mean this very, very affectionately, they have an almost a sense of a B-movie quality aesthetic, which serves their function so well, and which gives the films a sense of accessibility. They are so easy to get into. They're so easy to watch. They're so easy to fall into in terms of the world. And once you're in, they've got you and they've hooked you, and you don't want to leave because they're all so fun. And they give you also jolts and nudges, places to go that are oftentimes very sinister, sometimes quite disturbing indeed. Some of the ways in which the concepts and plot turns are depicted here, some disturbing turns, really, really disturbing turns. So the films are not afraid to, they won't shy away from taking perhaps even what might describe as kind of risque turns about them. And that's one of the great strengths of these films, is just that, and how they present them in this way that's also very bold and artistic and also very welcoming. And that's part of the fun, that's part of the joy of watching each of these films, again referred to as the RANOWN Westerns. And that's also something great about the Criterion set, as well as other sets as well, I should say, but the Criterion set as well, which is, it gives a great background into what the RANOWN Westerns are, what the phrase RANOWN means, in the context of some of the participants, Harry Joe Brown and Randolph Scott, as well as their collaborations with other key members, as I mentioned, Bud Bedecker and Burt Kennedy, etc., cameraman, or I'm sorry, director of photography Charles Lawton Jr., etc. So, and Charles Lang, etc. So, so these details are also emerging in many of, or in the context of the supplements that we will find here. So you're in for a real treat. And if you have not seen these films before, but you are looking for a place to go, this is a great place to turn. The Criterion box set, which is right here in front of me. The RANOWN Westerns, 5 films directed by Bud Bedecker, starring Randolph Scott. So you are in for a fun, fun time indeed with these. In that spirit, my dear friends, if it's okay with you, therefore, I'd like to propose that we go through each of the films one at a time in its own separate video, and then we can also have some other discussion points in a follow-up video after those films, each of the 5 films. It's given its own video discussion. So if it's okay with you, let us begin another through-line video discussion series, this time focusing in on this great Criterion release, which is the RANOWN Westerns, 5 films directed by Bud Bedecker, starring Randolph Scott. So if it's okay with you, the next video in this series will be focusing on the film, which is The Tall T. Oh, I cannot wait. I love this film, The Tall T. It's so great. It's so great. It's just, we're going to talk about The Tall T. So exciting. But anyway, that'll be the next video discussion topic in the next, in this line of video discussion series. So if you are interested, my dear friends, please, oh, please, 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 won't you join me? Won't you join us in a discussion, the next video discussion being The Tall T. And after that, we'll talk about Decision at Sundown and Buchanan Rides Alone, Ride Lonesome Comanche Station. But first up, it's The Tall T. So I look forward to seeing you there if you're interested, my dear friends. I'm looking forward to it immensely. So, my dear friends, that is just my general opening comments, if you will. I'm sorry for the lack of organization. I hope you can forgive me, but again, I'm really excited about this. I've gone through this set already. I've seen the films a number of times before, but I've seen them now in the context of this Criterion set, plus the extras. There's so much great stuff to talk about, so I can't wait to share those comments with you. But let's begin, or let's pick up this conversation next time, my dear friends, when we talk about the film, which is The Tall T. So I look forward to seeing you at that next video if you're interested. Whatever the case may be, and in any event, my dear friends, I hope that this video has found you well, and that you continue to watch a lot of great movies, including the RANOWN Westerns, including Randolph Scott films, including Bud Boetticher films, and the like, including some of the films that might be included in this set and beyond. I hope you continue to watch a lot of great movies, because you deserve it, my dear friends. You deserve it. And so, until the next video, my dear friends, stay strong, stay safe, and cheers.